Hello, hello, everyone. Our show is about to get started in about 1 minute. See you soon. Hello, everyone. It's finally here.
Evo is back and it's bigger than ever.
I'm Persia, this is Chastity, and we'll be bringing you all of the action for this weekend right here at the PlayStation Tournament's Evo Lounge.
So sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy the show.
Light me up. Never backing down.
Who's got what it takes right this second?
Look at that crowd here.
Evo is love. The people come back because this event is unlike anything else in the entire video game world.
Never backing down.
This is crazy, so close. Oh! Betting on the big read.
Let's go.
Welcome to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7.
Never backing down.
Heaven or hell.
Slap.
Who wants war?
And he was one hit from beating both.
Very close.
One button.
Very close.
Oh, wow.
He was so close.
Concentrating so hard, he's thinking, what can I do?
These guys are playing for the big money.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it.
He looks nervous.
Final round! Time to go big or go home!
Who wants war? Light me up. Never backing down.
Good morning. Let's rock.
Never backing down.
Oh my, the perfect attack!
Who wants war?
Oh my goodness, yo, my brain is about to explode, dude.
Nobody wanted to see it go down like that.
I like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Who wants war?
I hope that he has what it takes to continue the fiery, explosive play.
Backing down. Who wants war? Never backing down.
The old man still got it in him.
I have not
Geekon thinks it's over! Oh my god! He came here to play!
Who wants more? Light me up. Never backing down. Who wants more?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PlayStation Tournament's Evo Lounge. I'm Persia. Chastity is going to be joining us again very soon. But for now, I got some very important people already joining us at the top of the show. And by the way, if you enjoyed the song you just heard, shout out to Y2K for producing that specifically for this weekend. Super excited to hear it. The hype video definitely gets the blood pumping. And what's going to do that more than talking about some fighting games, right? So I'm joined by Jammers, C4, and Rip to talk about the action we're going to see this weekend, get a little bit of updates as well. And all weekend long, we're going to be providing you with bracket updates. And we're also going to be talking to devs and getting the lowdown on all that exclusive content. But until that time comes, let's talk about the games. And Rip, I'm going to start with you because Tekken is Tekken. Tekken has been absolutely amazing. It's so fun to watch. And now we're at EVO again after 3 years since the last offline. How do you think this tournament's going to shake up? The polls haven't quite started yet, but who do you got your eye on? Who are the underdogs? Lay it on us, Rip.
I mean, the crazy thing is, obviously, 3 years later now, Arslan Ash, he's the former champion, but he's the guy that everyone still has their eye on. He's come to a couple events out here in NA. He's won those events, so he is still the man to beat 3 years later. And honestly, he also won EVO Japan before that, so he's here to defend his EVO championship title, right? And I feel like he's still the guy. But he's got competition. The other NA events he's come to recently have not had any of the big Korean contenders that have really challenged him, specifically Knee. Knee and Arslan have a big rivalry going back many years now, and this could be the event that they come together on. However, you've also got underdogs like USA's Anakin, who's been playing probably the best he's played in his life. So this is really shaping up because they were the top three last time we were here 3 years ago. But on top of that, you also have Pakistan players showing up. Khan is here. He made top 8 at CEO back in December. So, you know, he's here. We've also got Japanese players. It's a very, very stacked event. Once the top 48 starts tomorrow night, it's going to be nonstop chaos.
Exactly. Everyone's a threat once you get to that point. And speaking of threats, Guilty Gear has been on the map. Everyone's been showing up tenfold for this game. How do you feel about what we're going to see this weekend? And I also would like to know your favorites and your underdogs as well.
I think there's so many players. Like, naming some underdogs, I'll literally be here for like 4 hours. There's over 2,000 entrants. I think it's 2,158.
Woo!
It's too many unknowns in there, I think, to be prepared. So even the players that we think are going to do well, they can get got. Guilty is definitely one of those games where you can get got. So there's 128 pools. I think the favorite most people are going to say is Latif. I think Latif is definitely one of those players that you look at and he's super strong, but the format isn't in his favor. So Latif's very well known for playing long sets, first to 7s, first to 10s. Last night played the first to 15, and he loves having that time to kind of digest what their opponents bring it to him. In a first to 3, anything can happen, I feel. You've got people like Slash, Zando, Leffen that have traveled over, and I think because of how good the netcode was in the game, they've had some interactions, but offline the feel is completely different. And again, there's so many, I don't know, Shin Toaster 24 could make top 20, 28. I don't know, there's too many players, but I think a lot of the EU players have come out, they're really ready, but obviously NA are going to defend their turf really well, I reckon.
You brought up a great question about long sets versus tournament sets and how that plays a difference. So do you have anything maybe in mind when you think about Guilty Gear specifically that people should be going for when they're playing in a tournament set that they might usually go for in a long set, but we keep those off limits when we're here to play at the tournament?
Yeah, I like to say in Guilty Gear, because the damage is quite high, try do your gimmicks immediately. Test your opponent, make sure. So,
I respect it.
And even on defense, right? Because it's like, show me that you've got the safe jump. Don't assume that your opponent's going to do it. When the lights hit you, a lot of players crumble. When they know that a lot of people are watching, sometimes their setups aren't frame perfect. So I think testing your opponent in the first to 2 or first to 3 setting is something you should do immediately. In a long set, you've got more time to go, okay, I don't think this is going to work. So game 4 or 5, I'll see if I can, try and throw a curveball at them. So yeah, I'd say throw everything at them. I'm a Leo player, so I'm a little bit biased when it comes to throwing stuff. But at first,
exactly.
Yeah, chuck out the gimmicks and let your opponent show you that they know the knowledge.
I will say this as well, because it's a short set in this tournament, stick to the game plan. There's so many people that play these games. I'm going to say this now. There's so many people who play these games that do not stick to a game plan. They think, all right, cool. I'll just land this attack, and then it just goes from there. But if you know the famous saying, Persia, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So stick to the game plan, and it should work from there. Because when you execute what you practice, it should be completely fine.
Exactly. And, let's switch gears a little bit to Street Fighter. You mentioned the damage playing a big factor in Guilty Gear. But with Street Fighter, it's a little bit different. Of course, characters, they can spew their damage when they can, but it mostly is going to come down to nickel and diming each other until you get the round. So how does that change for Street Fighter players, at least, when they're going up against others in tournament that they might not be aware of? Do they still want to follow that same tactic of throw all the cheapness out there immediately?
The thing is, you always have to test your opponent first. It's like, right, do you know this game? I'll do my basics. If you don't know the basics, we don't shift from gear 1. That's literally it, because you don't want to expend too much mental energy early in the bracket. You want to save that for your top 16s, your top 8s, the finals. And if you find out that, Jimmy Donut 62 doesn't even know what he's doing, it's like, okay, you can't deal with this, we're going to stick to that game plan. But just going back to what you're talking about, the damage is like fluctuated from high to low. There's many different ways of getting good damage in Street Fighter 5 now. So because we're in the final year of the game, it's all about that optimal gameplay in the neutral, in combos, on defense. And we got quite a number of contenders that are looking to take this title because they've refined that optimal craft, that optimal game plan, just to make sure they go home with an Evo title.
Exactly. And I think all of you raised a really valid point, especially when it comes to tournaments, that, don't give the people that you're playing respect until they earn that respect. Don't limit yourself on options or mix-ups or frame traps until they can prove to you that they're not going to block it, right? So I think a lot of people come into a tournament like Evo knowing that we have world-class competition, we are showing up in droves, but not everyone is going to, automatically deserve that respect from you in gameplay. So you can get away with certain things until they show you. Then it's up to you to adapt. But on the topic of adaptation, and I want to start with you, Rip, because I feel like Tekken really does require some heavy adaptations at times, especially when you're getting to the upper echelon of competition. What's something that these players can do here this weekend to stay on their toes and adapt quickly?
I think the biggest thing that a lot of players have, like obviously the big difference between FGC and other esports is that it's an open bracket. Anyone can show up on any given day and they can make a name for themselves out here, right? So when you sit down, just play your game. I think that's the biggest key. A lot of players that come out here, they get intimidated. They're in front of a crowd for the first time. They're used to playing online. They're not used to the offline environment. They sit next to a top player and they're watching their match instead of playing their own game, right? So those are all things you got to kind of just block out and just focus on your own gameplay. And then, it'll come naturally from there on. Because otherwise, you're just going to be distracted by everything else. And obviously, evolution is as big as it gets, right? So if you want a chance to make it to that top 8 and get in that arena, you got to play your game one round at a time, one game at a time, and just make the adaptations as they come.
You know what? Let me interject. I think there's another factor as well that we forget. You paid to get here.
That's true.
The biggest thing is people are easier to read in these tournaments because you paid to get here. There's something on the line. I do not want to go 0-2 by flying 11 hours because I didn't practice and focus on that game. So just bouncing off what Rip said, it's 100% correct. But always remember, you're going to be playing a little bit different and you're going to learn something about yourself. Not just from this event, any offline event, whether it's head-to-head or face-to-face, side-by-side. It's just a case of, I learned more about myself because this is what I wanted to do to come here. Not only just to enjoy the event, but to showcase my skills in tournament as well.
That is an amazing point. And I want to tack on to that since I didn't quite get your thoughts on the Street Fighter pools yet. But are there any players that you've seen who have been mentally preparing in that way that are showing up this weekend that might make some big waves?
There's been a lot of talk, because it's the final year of Street Fighter 5, it's kind of up in arms as to who's going to take it. Idom's had a good run, winning Combo Breaker, CEO. Len has been right on his case. Cab has been right on his case. They're in attendance. Problem X back in the offline fray for a little while, right? Mr. Crimson, he's probably been the most improved player and he's in the running for one of the best players in the world. But his big development came through the pandemic. he's one of the best examples of a player that's emerged from the pandemic. He's got a player in Guilty Gear that's done the exact same thing. We've got not as many Japanese players here, but there's still Tokido, Daigo, I think Pugera showed up, Kawano. There's strong contenders. So we got Angry Bird and Big Bird as well. There's so many names I could keep listing. And it's like, I feel it's whoever's good on the day. Because like I said going before, they've all refined, they've all been practicing, they've been focused, they all have their own rituals and mental preparation tactics. But I just feel it's like, right, if somebody got a discount on their favorite ice cream today, he might win the tournament.
You never know. Every little bit counts, especially at a tournament like this. I believe it. And honestly, keeping that good vibes, the good energy up really does go a long way, especially when fighting games are a genre in which it is so easy to get down on yourself. It's so easy to reflect on your performance and not feel good about it sometimes. So keeping that mental energy up, even when it's something just as small as getting your favorite ice cream or something for the day, really can go a long way. So for now, we are actually going to check out some Guilty Gear highlights in action. And we are unfortunately going to say bye to Rip because he's a busy man. He's got a lot to do this weekend. But when we come back after the clip, we're going to talk a little bit of Skullgirls. But for now, first things first, let's talk about some Guilty Gear.
Right, so Legend. I have heard of Legend, a Milia player. Milia's kind of unpopular, I feel. I think from the beginning of the game, people were like, oh yeah, the legacy of Milia is that she can make everyone feel super miserable with one knockdown. Her kind of win condition has changed a little bit since then. Ino's is very similar. They've given her new tools. As you can see, the whole new mechanic of wall breaking, I feel kind of benefits Ino in a way because she gets more damage. Before, she did very minimal damage, but had the same Oki that Milia did, but in the corner.
Right.
So they're kind of two sides of the same coin. One does it mid-screen, one does it in the corner. Right now, this is what Milia does. She'll knock you down, put the disc on top of them, or cross them up. See, that's why I got hit.
Yeah, but even then, you're talking about the wall splat mechanic, right? But listen as to what Legend did. He made sure he didn't get the wall splat so he could maximize that situation and then benefit. And obviously the positive meter build bonus has been such a big deal for a lot of characters in this game. You kind of take advantage of that, defensively and offensively with the mechanics.
Yeah, for sure. I think as the game developed, some people have said to their character, you know what, my character does better not breaking the wall. So they opt to go for, I don't want the positive bonus because I like the Oki that I get instead. Oh, good challenge there by Havoc, Noah, and there you go. One of the tools that's new to Ino. She's got a super command grab, an overdrive. That's a grab. You get front row seats to the concert, mad damage indeed. But Milia's mobility gets her out of any sticky situation.
But it's more linear and flexible because obviously Ino's dash is a unique one.
Yes.
Which has to do the hop, right?
Yes.
So I feel like Milia might edge it out in terms of that, but Havoc's been playing really well, so.
Yeah, no, Havoc's a very strong player. I see them in other games, or right now though, they're not looking too strong as they get clipped low. Goes for the burst, doesn't want to get taken through the wall, but a 6P there from Legend, keeping the position, and there we go, double overhead gets blocked. FD trying to mitigate the stickiness of Milia, right? She's very sticky when it comes to her pressure, and it's like, please get off me, stop pressing buttons in front of my face. So you tend to try to FD. But because of the speed, it makes it really hard to get that space to try and challenge back.
Oh,
nice dive. Overhead low, the classic. The Ino speciality. Oh,
that should hit, right?
Yeah, Angel.
Yeah,
sure, that's gonna hit. Yeah.
The moment Ino left the ground, I just knew. Just do wake up overdrive.
Pretty much. It's very, very rare. It's just like a shiny Charizard to see an Ino take to the air and block. They're always gonna go for a button.
Why have you gotta be like this?
I mean, I don't know any other way to describe it, but it makes sense because she's actually one of the characters where overdrive is plus. So even the air version, if you block it, it's still her turn.
Right.
So you should kind of press buttons. She promotes that kind of gameplay.
Right, and then look at that damage, and he gets the hard knockdown here, right?
Yep. You do get more frame advantage when you break the wall, the overdrive like that, but you also gain more of a distance. So you understand like round start positioning. When you break the wall, it's a little bit further.
Oh.
It's kind of not noticeable unless you play the game and you try to get a setup. And then you'll realize that, oh, this whiffs, but it doesn't whiff at round start because the distance is slightly different.
Right. Do you know, I never actually considered that.
Yeah. It doesn't affect most characters. I know back in the day, it used to affect Leo. He never used to get a safe jump if he broke the wall because they were too far. Here we go. Yep, love shaker. Overhead low.
He might as well grab him. He might as well grab him. Why am I sick? I don't even.
It's 2 frames, Jonas. It's 2 frames.
I'm just looking at the situation. I'm like, you might as well just grab him.
You're saying water is wet. Yes, you should have it 2 frames.
Oh man, that's funny.
Catch Jonas on Metafire, he knows. The low. And there we go. Noah takes it over Legend in a battle that I have not seen very often. Eno versus Minya. Like I said, 2 very rare characters. But it's good to see it. Obviously, it's going to happen at EVO in pools. So, yeah, it was a pleasure to see.
Yes, we are getting a first taste of some of our pools action. That was Guilty Gear. And now we are joined by Munoz Scyther here. Skullgirls extraordinaire has definitely been around the block for the Skullgirls community. Super excited to have you here. And honestly, talk about Skullgirls because Skullgirls is here in 2022. Just that alone, I need to get your take on because I feel like people were counting it out for a little bit there.
Oh yeah, very much so. We've been side tournament at EVO for many years, and now we're here as the main game for Friday. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be here and to represent the scene.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about players to look out for. Of course, I saw Sonic Fox talking about they are ready to take this one. They're ready for another championship in the bag. But I feel like a lot of Skullgirls players are going to show up and really try to make a name here for this event. The fact that you guys are here as a main game. So who should we be looking out for?
So a couple of names were not coming to this event due to their flights being canceled. TJ, SwiftFox Dash.
Oh, that sucks.
And PME, yeah.
Oh, wait. PME is the Robo Fortune.
Yes, yeah.
They're so sick. And Swift.
Unfortunate, yeah. But in their place, we have players like Lazy Diablos, who took a 5-year hiatus from Skullgirls, still plays amazing. Fortune, Eliza player, inventor of the Fortune Butchers mix-up stuff that he does. We have Big Tony coming in from Italy.
No way, he's here.
Yes, he's here.
That's sick.
I like Big Tony. Shout out to Big Tony.
He's sick, yeah. Plays Squiggly Band and very strong player. We have people like Sunset Radiance, LD, Swing Beats, more bail bands you can count.
You know if Wing Zero's here?
Wing is definitely here, yes.
You know if Mr. Peck is here?
Mr. Peck? Unfortunately, Peck retired from Skullgirls. So there's more people out there that could take his spot, but yeah, he unfortunately retired. Yeah.
Okay.
So you mentioned that some players, you know, they haven't played in a really long time, but they're showing up and they're still playing well. And I kind of feel like Skullgirls is the type of game where you're definitely riding a bike. However, there have been some patches and some changes. So how do you think that's going to affect this tournament?
So overall, the patches, I feel like the players that do come back and are confident in playing again have at least recognized the game is not the same as it used to be. So in that, for one thing I've seen Lazy do is that he would not enter the events that I ran, but he would always be there to play in casuals and practice with some of the best players like Triviality. For example, he takes games off Triviality all the time, off Cannon Black too. Cannon Black, semi-retired, also does really well as he used to play. Parasol Master. Yeah, it's just people have been practicing online because we have like such strong netcode just to be able to play online like that. There's plenty of online events I've been every week, like ranked sessions, weeklies with Matcherinos, and there's overall sessions that's ran by a community.
Yeah, and there's also a couple of new characters, right? Well, relatively new, some newer than others, but since the last big tournament, we've got some new characters on the roster. Are we going to see any of those characters in action this weekend?
Oh, definitely, especially Annie. Annie, added to the game as of 2020, has one of the strongest assists in the game. Her DP assist, Destruction Pillar, freest corner carry you could ever rock. It does a lot of damage, and she's definitely team useful. You'll probably see her on almost everyone's team in the top 8 that's going to happen today. And Umbrella, a new character, she's a character specialist, but when she works, she works. There's a really strong player that's not here named Nope.avi, who's the encyclopedia of that character, and he takes games off of PME and Sage and stuff, and he's just really impressive with that character. Also, we're also getting another character, Black Dahlia, who's also in development right now, and we're going to see an exhibition. Yeah. we're going to see an exhibition happen later on today involving Pen and Sonic at around 7.
Awesome. Well, I am definitely looking forward to some action. I do love playing some Skullgirls myself. You know, I play with you guys though, and then I'm like, do I even know anything about this game? And then I'll go play somewhere else, and I'm like, okay, yes I do. You guys are just that good, and it's really hard to like get a gauge of how good you are. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, especially here on the big stage. But let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit and talk about some Street Fighter.
Look to me, Persia.
Because we do have a nice little clip here from Brian F. And we want to check out, obviously, some pools action. We saw a little bit of Guilty Gear earlier, but Street Fighter time is now.
Oh, so content creator Brian F. I know he doesn't like being called that, but I'm like, with what you've achieved in the past a year and a half or 2 years, that's what people are going to refer to you as. But this is crazy, right? Because someone's forced his hand to bring out his boxer, or Barog, I should say, because he's been having so much fun playing Aura. And Aura is very technical. He's an investment character. He's been having fun, but to get the job done, whether hook or by crook, he's got to bring out the big guy. So yes. I like the fact that he's brought him out. And again, Brian's boxer, for me, is one of the best in the US. Very methodical, very analytical with what he does. There's a very solid structure, very solid foundation to what he does as well. Now, I know it's interesting because obviously the players have been playing on a different platform. Now, some characters benefit off of console. Barog is one of them. So I'd run with it, to be honest. And he's using his favorite costume as well. Now, the matchup he is playing, Boxer is one of the heaviest hitters in Street Fighter 5 right now. So it kind of works in his favor to be kind of defensive, be that lane style. Not so much passive, but it's kind of just we wait and counter and make it difficult for Vega to combat it. Vega has some of the best walk speed in the game, and he's got one of the best pokes in the game in his stand medium punch. But the thing is, the risk reward as to what Brian has to do to get damage as opposed to what Vega has is not in Chararin's favor. Hopefully I haven't butchered his name. I'm so sorry if I have. But again, you can see he's using stand medium punch. He's trying to find that range, because that's what you got to do. You literally got to do death by 1,000 cuts. You got to poke away. What's annoying is when Barog lands a jump in. When Barog gets a dash straight. He gets a command grab. He's going to get a throw situation here as well, but he plays it safe. So with V-Trigger 2, I don't necessarily agree with that with Vega, because you need to be able to escape and react to certain things. Maybe throw your Rose V-Trigger 1 against that in neutral. But he's handling it really well. Another dash command grab. I wouldn't be surprised if he dashed up and did another one. No.
Oh!
Okay. What is that?
So that's a counter. So basically,
he knew.
He can cancel normals into it. So his slide is unsafe.
Yeah.
He can do the slide into the counter, and if you try to punish the 3, you get punished. So that's like a gimmick tactic, which is what C4 was saying before. Bring out your gimmick now, because Brian forgot. But then this is exactly what happens.
Oh, I love these air-to-airs. Brian looks super prepared every time Vega's trying to escape, going for those air-to-airs to at least reset the neutral. And something that is literally the epitome of Evo right now is that Brian F's opponent is all the way from the Honduras and took Brian F down to the last round.
Matt, do you know what? Mad ratings, because this is what, going back to the point made before, there's so many... I feel when the new generation of fighting games came out, when Street Fighter 5, there were so many names in a bracket you just did not know. And if you didn't know them, you disregarded them. But you learned the hard way because of the games they're playing, the damage output, how easy it is to get certain hits, how hard it is to be to defend yourself, because everyone's a victim in certain situations. So with situations like that, Brian might have not known that guy, but he knew who Brian was.
Exactly.
That's the scary part, because you go around and say, hey, Persia, do you know this person in my bracket? I don't know who this person is in my bracket. And it's like, oh, I don't know, and if you don't know, good luck.
Yep.
And
That can work against you for sure. That can definitely work
the
against
last
me.
thing you want is them using a fantastic character like Vega or someone stronger, because then it's like, oh boy, I don't know how he plays them.
Exactly.
I don't know if he knows the optimal. So it can be a very tense and scary situation, especially on the grand stage like Evo.
Exactly. That's definitely one thing about Evo. Every time I've entered, 9 times out of 10, I run into every single character I do not have any familiarity with, and the person playing it is someone I've never heard of before, but they're amazing with the character, and it really puts you on your toes. Like, you gotta train for even more than just the big names in your pool. You never know what character's gonna show up, and I think character unfamiliarity is the downfall of more players more often than not. So that brings me to a question to you, Munoz, about Skullgirls being around for quite some time. You know, not much room in my opinion, for character unfamiliarity at this stage, aside from the newer characters. So do you think that plays as much of a factor in Skullgirls right now?
For character unfamiliarity, there's still plenty of people in this game that run like the weirdest like teams. Like I just now I played against the solo Beowulf. I'm like, wow, you guys are still out here playing this character solo, like, because that character's always ran with Band as his backup partner, and yeah, it still exists like within like games as big as Skullgirls in Evo. As it's international competition, and international competition, it means there's going to be people you've never heard of before that play super nice, that show up like unseeded and ready to smoke you in bracket.
That is so true, for sure. And I think we actually have a Skullgirls highlight to check out real quick on the discussion, which is exciting because I've been waiting to see some Oh, and we got Peacock on the screen. That's my girl. That's my girl.
Oh, Flame Money's is Annie.
Yep, Annie assist. This is actually a good team for Bella Bands, which I feel like more Bella Bands should play this team. There's a lot of Bella Band players out there that just only run the duo. That DP assist is really good to have.
Oh, Umbrella too.
Yep, gets that pick up here. Misses the snap, that's unfortunate. Almost a waste of a bar. Nice DP assist. Rocking the Umbrella DP assist, which is, I'd say, one of the weaker DP assists to run it in this game because she takes so long to come back down.
Right.
She's just out there forever. This is a free kick.
Like a massive opportunity to, yeah.
And in a game like Skullgirls, there are really so many resets that if you don't know about them, you're going to get hit by them. And some of them are pretty basic, like what Eliza just did right there. Went for the throw reset in the air, but she also has combos that look similar to that. So if you're not ready, you're going to get mixed in this game, for sure.
Command grab.
I don't know why I did not spend the bar.
Yeah, unfortunate. You really thought it was going to kill. All right.
Rolling.
Oh, rocking Peacock George assist, Light George. A very slow moving hitbox that just comes in.
Yes.
Combos.
That's the best one.
A real estate assists.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's just on his day out.
Yeah.
George on his day out.
Oh, do you know what? Can I say something about George? There's so many games where a character has an assist and they're called George. George is a problem in fighting games. No one speaks about that enough.
Or just a person named George.
Don't underestimate George.
Ooh,
love throw.
chasing down. Fortunate no pickup. Sometimes like when people get air throws in this game, they fail to pick up. It's mostly for a pressure thing.
Is that launcher that Umbrella's in? Is that her DP assist?
It's a DP assist, yes.
Okay, cool.
That's her DP.
Because like you said, I don't see much of this character.
Yeah.
And I thought she was very interesting, especially with the bubble stuff that she has.
Yeah.
I'm learning actually a lot by watching her play now.
Yeah.
She has a strong assist, but how is she on point?
On point? Oh, she's a menace. Her sweep is plus.
Got it all.
And she usually goes in with that with an assist call, and she can put bubbles on the screen that'll just mess you up.
Nice.
So you gotta watch out what state she's in. Like she's gonna see her come in, and you gotta pay attention to her little bar under her health. It shows you what state her hunger is, the little umbrella. And Ravenous, she's a menace. Faster buttons. She probably won't get the play though, because oh, reversal, nice.
Nice.
So how do you fill up the bar with Annie?
She has a hunger.
Sorry, not Annie.
Has
Umbrella.
to eat them.
Right. Okay.
It's like the name, you know, he's hungry, so he's going to eat.
Amazing.
Now that's a shirt. I like whoever this person is. I like the shirt. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, everyone's showing up looking stylish this weekend. Love to see it. Love to see it. And love to see some Skullgirls action. And you hit the nail on the head earlier when you mentioned Annie is going to be showing up this weekend. So we saw a little bit of it there. And, you know, that was one match in pools very early on, but it was close. And all the matches we've seen so far have been really close, and I expect that to be a trend throughout this weekend. So how do you feel about just the level of competition for Skullgirls that's shown up this weekend?
Skullgirls is one of the hardest games to ever see, because there would be, obviously there'd be the top 8, and you know who they are, but then everyone else is like at that same like level of skill, where it's like, I don't know where to place you. This is going to be very hard to work with. Like, so it's like a team of people that come in constantly to see this game, and it's very refreshing to see. That's like a game is like, I'd say it's more on the small end on most other fighting games, but it has such a strong, you know, player base. Like, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yes, absolutely.
I wonder if we would get seeded in Skullgirls. It's been a while since we played.
I don't know, you know, because like Persia, we play the game a little bit. We play it when no one's around. It's one of those ones. So we kind of pay attention to the characters here and there, but again, watching these guys at eye level, I'm like, yeah.
That's so scary.
Literally, because someone will hit you, and the combo count is resets. I didn't even see what you.
Exactly. I didn't even know you reset.
It's not a game where you block. I will say that.
Offense is the best defense, of course. But for now, we are also going to switch lanes a little bit and get to know one of our PlayStation Tournament's EVO Lounge winners.
Hello, I'm Spaceboy. I'm the winner of the FGC Arcade Summer Community Series for Street Fighter V in the North America region. When I got the final hit, I remember it with throw into counter hit jab. I just felt so like, oh my god, I'm gonna go to EVO. I just felt like I was incredibly happy, but I felt like I was a little limp too. I was just like in disbelief that I'm finally gonna be able to go to EVO after all this time. The very first person I told was my my practice partner, Cat named Flash. We just got so hyped that I qualified, and I won the whole thing. In my opinion, what EVO means to the fighting game community is that it's your best shot that you're going to play against the best of the best. I think it's probably the most important tournament for any game that doesn't have some sort of qualifiers. And it's just really exciting, high-level tournament matches and really great play from other regions. That's why I've always watched EVO, even though I've never gone to one. I'd say that EVO for me now is the halfway point in the chapter of me as a Street Fighter V player, where I get to see where I'm practicing, where I need to practice for, and how well the practice that I have been doing translates to a major setting.
And here is the list of all of our FGC Arcade winners. Many of them are here this weekend to really put their skills to the test, and honestly, congratulations to all of them, and shout outs to PlayStation Tournaments for putting these events together and to give opportunities to people who might not have had a chance to make it out here, because it is a huge event and a lot of these players are from regions that are far away. So it's exciting to see not only opportunities and growth, but support from people like PlayStation. It's really amazing to see. And I know as folks who've been in the FGC for a long time, this hasn't always been a thing that's around. So it's very, very exciting to see that support and see some new talent while we're at it. See some heavy hitters get to try their hand at facing off at a tournament like this. So I'm actually very curious to hear on the Guilty Gear side. We talked a little bit about seeding earlier. With all these new players coming out from different regions that we might not know about, seeding playing into effect, and over 2,000 entrants in Guilty Gear, how do you think that seeding is going to play a factor in the tournament? And do you think there's going to be some people, regardless of seeding, that are just going to run amok in this tournament?
There's going to be those outliers that are going to do that for sure, but I think seeding Guilty Gear this year was like trying to put two